All right, Hormazd joins us now. Let's take a conversation forward. We've spoken about disruption in the four-wheeler space, EV, migration from ICE to EV is the talking point in the four-wheeler space. But in the two-wheeler space, for the first time, we are seeing what could be called as a unique disruption, which is happening in India because of CNG. Hormoz, it's hard for me to imagine that how would the mechanics of a CNG engine work in a two-wheeler, but Bajaj has really, silenced all the naysayers now. What do you think would be the far-reaching implications of this change of technology or change of fuel in the two-wheeler space?
It's really a pretty bold and innovative move. I don't think this is something you expect the very conservative Japanese to do, but I think really it is very clever of Bajaj to do it. And, as Rajiv Bajaj himself said, they've got a lot of experience and know-how with three-wheelers, so why not adapt it to two-wheelers? Obviously, when you're going to two-wheelers, it's not commercial application. You're going right down to the consumers. How will the consumers react to it? I think the biggest driver is really, the running costs, which are really hurting the two-wheeler owner, especially look at the cost of petrol today. I think EVs, unfortunately, especially in the motorcycle space, still have a long way to go in terms of just being practical, in terms of cost and what have you, and all the other issues that come with EV. So really, there is a huge opportunity with CNG, clearly, because running costs is one of the biggest drivers in the kind of low end or budget end of the motorcycle segment. But of course, still remains to be seen. Technically, the bike is a bit heavier. The tank is under the seat, so the seat height goes up, which again, for short riders could be an issue. And of course, how will two-wheeler riders, kind of react to queuing up at a CNG station? So all these factors remain, but I think, in time to come, this could definitely start opening up a new segment and can be a big disruption.
On one side, we are saying that Indian consumer, they want a two-wheeler, but they want a more powerful two-wheeler. Now, the CNG experience, some would argue and say, is that it's not going to be big in terms of power or CC or purely in terms of the advantage of commuting.
That's true, but I think clearly it's not that. I think it will have a certain threshold of power, which will give you that base level just for everyday commuting, which is what most people do. And it's getting to a point where running costs are kind of becoming the main driver, and people might be willing to compromise a bit on performance, to get that better running costs. So I think there will be a certain segment which will find this appealing. So I think yeah, but I think there are more than the power and performance. I just think sometimes it's just the practicality of running a CNG vehicle, which one needs to consider.
Hormaz, morning. Let's also get in your take then as to what the implication of this is going to be for some of the other players within the space, just some of the other two-wheeler players. Would there be a threat when it comes to market share, pricing strategies perhaps be altered, or not too much?
Well, I think this is one kind of a segment. It's a huge market. Two-wheeler market is the largest in the world. There are multiple segments. Clearly, the bottom end of the segment is where all the action is. Commuter segment. I think there will be people waiting and watching and seeing how this evolves. But I think if this does click, Bajaj does have a first mover advantage in this space.
What do you think this could do for the price conscious commuter in India? I distinctly remember reading an old ad, it's a bit of a nostalgia, from Hero Honda. That time it was Hero Honda. Fill it, shut it, forget it. It was extremely focused on mileage and cost. Do you think this launch from Bajaj Auto, in a sense, could set cat amongst the pigeon, and it could really make everybody relook at entry level bikes?
Well, I think I think definitely, because at the end of the day, it is, we have that, how do I say, that overriding factor of running cost is super, super important. I think people on motorcycles tend to do long commutes. This is their family vehicle for a lot of them. And clearly, running costs is the number one priority. People are willing to sacrifice other factors, for the running costs, including performance, is what I said. Though the motorcycle market is evolving, it's kind of, even moving upwards. So people are also valuing a bit of performance and power and style and that sort of thing. But, this is a core segment, which I think, there is, as I said, a huge opportunity.
And finally, just wanted to understand what the outlook could be down the line, Hormazd, from you. With more adoption, do you think that we could see the government actually cutting down the tax on CNG?
Well, it's hard to say what the government will do on tax. I think I don't see government really cutting down on taxes on anything. We've not really seen that. If at all, things could go up for other, let's say, technologies. But I think more than anything, it's as I said, costs overall are very, very expensive. Whether it's cars or two-wheelers, costs have generally gone up, and I think this is largely due to regulation. And I think this is what is really hurting the industry. So I don't know whether the government will give cognizance to that. Remains to be seen. But what's for sure is that let's say personal mobility is right now very expensive.
Hormazd, just before I let you go, a quick word on the other launches that might be lined up for the industry, something to watch out for. Because I think Ola also took a lot of analysts, etc., to their factory, and they were talking about some big launches lined up. Anything else that you're picking up that might be interesting for the space?
Well, I think yes, so Ola has been talking. I think they've been talking about an electric motorcycle. I think everyone's kind of how do I say, been looking at the EV space, but clearly that's become a little flat. At least we've been seeing some of the June numbers as well. There have been growth in certain segments, but they haven't. But I think to be honest, top of my head, I can't remember any specific models, but I think TVS will be having a strong lineup, as will Enfield going forward. In fact, I think we've got a big podcast coming up on what Enfield is doing with their new models. So I think Ketan, who handles that, he'll be spilling the beans on that in the next week.
Wait out for that when they do actually spill the beans, but lots in the pipeline. Thanks so much, Hormazd, for making time and speaking with us. And that's about the entire disruption which has happened in the two-wheeler space. The world's first ever CNG bike launched last week.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.